I think that the best way for me to start doing this is to focus on a few of the the core elements of the ResMill application. So we have a control board in this case which is like a vertical board, and this is like the map of the large empty region. Okay, and then on the right hand side of the board you have um, a visual browser a visual browser of different categories of objects that you can use. So we can consider this as a library of objects, and then you have other controls, to change, the time of day, etc. And you can, change the direction of the wind and the water levels and so on and so forth. And you have, other functions that would allow you to load uh, scenes that you have created before and and saved. And you can also manipulate objects, select them individually, and delete them extra. There are lots of controls that's possible straight from the surface, and we'll get to see them. Um, so there are a number of functionalities that we have to focus on with the board. One is that it allows us to add content. So let's do that. Just give an example. Let us say I want to add a road network to my town. So okay, I've placed this road network on this empty region here, and it's going to appear. Just to get a sense of scale. Okay, so if I put my avatar here, you can see I've just teleported to this place, and you can see you can get a sense of scale. Okay, so let's me just go back and sit here basically. All right. Okay, so we've placed a road object, and as I said, you can select and remove the object if it is not needed. So I'm going to remove this selection. And you can do this for pretty much anything. You've got a whole range and different types of objects. You have objects such as buildings. You have people categories, and these are basically non-player characters that you can select, or you can create like crowds in the environment that you can control from here. So just to give an example, if I'm going to pick these these fellows over here, like a group of firefighters, if I place them over here, and I want them to go somewhere else, okay, they'll be walking from that point to the other, and if I look down, I should be able and zoom in, and you can actually see a group of firefighters walking towards that point. Okay, just an example. So that's an example of just control. There are many controls, but that's just an example. We can also, I apologize about the sound outside. That's like somebody started a very powerful bike, and it's just making a lot of noise. All right, so let's pick another example. Let's say I have a building like this one that I could place, and you can see that that is going to appear in a moment. It's going to pop up like that, just like that. And objects can have different degrees of complexity. So this is like a fairly complex object. Just wait for some time before all the assets get downloaded, and they are going to appear here. Um, so the big hand and the pointer, it's like a 3D cursor. All right. So when you're putting an object on the map, and if you're standing here on the platform, you get to see and have an idea of where that's going to appear. All right. So let's look at this house here. So you can see that with this object, it also came with a small family, and all the different things are interactive in this house, and it's got objects and lots of stuff in the house. Um, and with quite a lot of interactivity. So, for example, we can pick a fruit, and if we want to put it in the fridge, we can do that. So objects are movable, and so if you have exercises that involve interacting with objects, and I think this is a good way to do it. You can bring people in, and all the interactions will be collaborative, and people will get to see what others are doing, etc. Um, incidentally, this library object was built for a particular scenario which involved, if I remember correctly, about an anarchist who was using his garage to as a weapons cache, and as a place to manufacture weapons of this destruction. So you can have as an example, a scenario where you have you know um, this building placed, and then you have a classroom situations where you want to expose students to an environment where they can go and try to investigate and check houses and see which ones look suspicious, and once they are in, try to look and check and see and get clues about various objects, and try to see whether there is any cause for concern here, and um, you know you get the idea. So I'm going to take a pause here before we proceed.